welcome back for another video. So this one is a film review of the DC's latest film, Supergirl. So if you have stumbled upon this video, hello, my name is Devin. I'm your pop culture princess. I haven't been here for a while, but I recently watched Supergirl, so I thought this is going to be the start of me getting back into making videos again. So behind me I have comics, I have my Superman pillow, so I just wanted to kind of establish that I'm kind of a big DC fan. Yeah, Justice League is how I got into comics. So the DCAU is a big part of my personality, everything about me. I love it. And if you see right here, Supergirl's on here. So the interpretation of Supergirl that I really enjoy is the DCAU. From Superman the Animated Series all the way to Justice League Unlimited. So if you don't like that interpretation, or you're like, oh, this is how you're going to go about this review, then maybe this one isn't for you. But based on that description, hopefully you can see where I'm coming from in regards to not liking the Supergirl film and Supergirl herself. A lot of people that I've seen in the reviews have said like, oh, I may not like the film, but Millie Alcott is like a really good actress. She's like a really great Supergirl. And in my opinion, from the start, so at the end credit scene of Superman, when we first met Supergirl, I thought she was fine. I thought her scene was pretty funny. I think it's because I interpret it as, oh, this is like anytime Superman's younger cousin who's like immature or whatever. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be funny. Not really knowing about, like, I knew about the Woman of Tomorrow storyline. I knew that like she got drunk a lot, but I thought it was gonna be like more funny and cool like that. Whereas when I finally watched the film, it did not come off that way to me. So eventually I just became really annoyed with the film. I became annoyed with the characters. There was no characters that was like, oh, like I would like to see you outside the film, of course, besides Superman. And just to give a little bit of insight in regards to Superman, I did not really like the 2025 Superman film. Now, I've come to be softer on it because my dad really loves it and he watches it all the time. So, in the time span it's come out, I have seen multiple scenes of it. I also went to Cincinnati to watch it be filmed. So some of the scenes I saw in the movie, I literally saw in real life. So I have a special connection to it. Of course, the Christopher Reeve Superman is my favorite, the one I enjoyed the most. So I had this like idea of how Superman should be, and I felt like the James Gunn Superman was kind of like, some of the things he was doing was punk rock. Other things I was just like, this is really annoying. Like, we don't always have to show these things or like have him say it out loud. Lex Luthor, like I said, Justice League. So I'm Superman animated series down. I'm Clancy Brown down, and I'm like, I do like my Lex Luthor to be a little bit more suave, a little bit more cool. I even put that in my Letterboxd review. So there's like a couple of character interpretations that I did not like about James Gunn Superman, but it still didn't make me say this is a horrible film. Like, I can literally rewatch it. The only character that I'm like, I need y'all to recast is the Hawk Girl. Like, again, I'm gonna just keep pulling this up. Like, this is like my reference Bible. Like, where's Shia Hall? I don't like this Hawk Girl. Like, it was bothering me. It was bothering me. It was bothering me. But I still was like, I still can appreciate James Gunn Superman. I still understand why people like James Gunn Superman. So I'm gonna let it be. But then the trailer started happening for Supergirl. Like, they started to try to hype Supergirl up. And I don't know, even when Millie got casted, I was like, I don't know, she's not giving Supergirl. There's just something about casting these days where whenever they cast women, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to like insult, but like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman was like Wonder Woman, you know? Like, I feel like there's this thing where it's just like you can't be you can't be like girly pretty and be a superhero, because it's not like Millie Alcott is ugly. She's not, because I saw her, because I thought she had a rugged look when I was watching Supergirl. But then I saw her red carpet looks for Supergirl. I'm like, oh, so she can be like feminine and really like cutesy. So why in Supergirl do they have her looking busted? Like, that's my problem. In Supergirl they have her looking busted, and then the uniform, the Supergirl uniform itself, like when she finally had her superhero shot, that wasn't giving. It wasn't eating down. Like, remember when, even though I don't like this movie, Batman v Superman, and Wonder Woman was first introduced. You would think that Supergirl in her own movie would have that moment, but she didn't, and that was like that was like it wasn't giving like superhero. Like the whole movie wasn't giving superhero. It was just giving like you literally grabbed your cousin's clothes and started playing dress up. Like it really didn't give that. And then, like I said, I don't know. This is like my third take. So Lobo, he was like really annoying. Like I don't know. I felt like everyone was saying that like Jason Momoa was meant to be Lobo when he was Aquaman. We were like he should be Lobo. Why is he Aquaman? Like we had all these questions. He's finally Lobo, and it wasn't giving. Like it's like in some sense, DC gives us what we want and then doesn't execute it right, and then they give us stuff we don't ask for, and that's executed wrong too. So I'm like, DC's not winning. Like someone in their Letterboxd review literally said, typical DC taking one step forward, two step back. Back. And I said absolutely because Supergirl was not it. Um, and then Ruthie, oh my gosh, like I know that in the sense Supergirl isn't a very popular character in the sense of she's not like Batman and Spider Man where you have 50 million stories you can adapt from. I know that the Woman of Tomorrow storyline is her most popular, so that's the one we're adapting. But oh my god, like Ruthie was so annoying. And then when they played Jimmy Eat World, the middle, and they remixed it, y'all, that made me want to drop it down to 1 star because I said what is happening. Like I don't understand why we're doing this girly pop thing. It reminded me of Captain Marvel when they played I'm Just a Girl by No Doubt. When do you watch a man movie? A man movie. When do you watch a superhero movie where the guy's a male and they're just like, I'm a man song, this is a man, and a man is doing man stuff. Like, so why, when the girl's the main character, we always have to play, let's make it the guy version, or this band made this song, but let's make girls sing it. Let's play a song that's like girl power empowerment. I'm like, why can't she just like be a person and like if she likes a certain song, like I guess if she was a fan of Jimmy Eat World, which again, let's backtrack that. Why is she listening to pop music in America and all this when you're from Krypton? Like, if you don't like Earth, which it seems like she doesn't, because that's the weird part too. Do you like Earth or do you not like Earth? She barely spends time on Earth, but makes Earth pop culture references, even though she's been on another planet longer than Earth. So why is she already so accustomed to Earth? Also, how did she learn English? Like, I feel like the whole movie should have started from. And I'm jumping around. Let me keep going and then tell you how I kind of want the movie to be. So again, she's making these pop culture references about Earth to on other planets and going on other planets so she can drink because she's unhappy because I don't know, she's unhappy about something. She's 23 and she left her planet at 16, which means 7 years have passed, and she's still mad about her planet exploding. Which for me, why wouldn't she drinking since she was 16? Like you telling me she started drinking at 21 and been an alcoholic for 2 years? Unrealistic, but I get it because it's like the kids superhero movie type of thing. But again, if we're gonna touch on those issues like sex trafficking, we might as well just say she's been drinking since she got on this earth. But again, the only parts of the movie I liked is when Superman slash Clark popped up. Other than that, I was not feeling the movie. It was just too much for me. Like I saw a Facebook post that was like, "Oh, like I understand, like, or I think it's weird how you guys don't like Superman and message is really about like immigrants and things like that because that was what they were hitting on the Superman movie." And then they were like, "Oh, well, you don't like. I find it strange you guys don't like Supergirl. You must be misogynist, or like, oh, is it because they're talking about sex trafficking?" And it's like, it's not the topics themselves; it's how they execute those topics. And I think that Supergirl did a really poor job. I still think Superman kind of did a poor job too, because you're trying to have these big discussions through these superheroes, but you're not doing it in. You're also doing it in a way that's like Green Lantern has to be there, Hawkgirl has to be there, and we need to talk about this issue while also dealing with like that. So it's the same thing with Supergirl. You're trying to deal with getting your dog here, while at the same time dealing with sex traffic. But Supergirl's never like these girls shouldn't be sex trafficked. The whole time she's just like, we need to find my dog, and it happenstance the person that kidnapped my dog or hurt my dog is the same person that's doing the sex traffic, which means if that specific person never hurt or touched Kara's dog, she would have never herself jumped in to help the sex traffic situation. So it's like you're not really dealing with this. Like Kara is a superhero who really wants to help these people, which is annoying. So I maybe I got into spoilers. I don't know. I just feel like this movie wasn't great enough to even have a non-spoiler spoiler review or be like, watch out for spoilers. I'll probably just put one little warning before this video is uploaded. But again, I found the video to be not the video, the movie to be very frustrating, very irritating. So basically, what I would do for a Supergirl film is I would show the scenes because the scenes on her planet were really good. I would show, but one thing that didn't make sense is if you play the Injustice 2 game, um, the planet Krypton like blows up, and Clark and Kara leave at the same time. That's always how it's been. Kal-El and Kara leave at the same time, but Kara always gets off track, which is why she ends up being frozen at 16, and Clark grows older on Earth. But in the Supergirl film, Clark had already left, and the Kara's dad had made a new planet Argo, and 8 years. This was 8 years before Kara was born. Then Kara was 8. Then Kara left at 16. So now they're actually making it where she actually physically is Superman's younger cousin instead of the whole thing where she's the younger cousin but technically she's older because she's actually experienced what this Krypton planet is like. Whatever. So how I would have it is the day that Krypton exploded from Kara's perspective. Even a little bit before, showing her like growing up on Krypton, actually learning some of like the tech and things like that. And then once she has learned the tech, then we have the instance where like the planet's about to explode, your cousin and you are going to be sent to Earth. And they're telling Kara, hey, my brother's sending my son to Earth basically to destroy them, and you need to be sent to Earth to make sure that like your cousin does not try to like destroy these people on Earth because Jor-El has lost his mind. So then the same thing in Injustice 2, like her ship goes off. We all know the story. Clark still ends up being a good person because he was taken by Mom and Pa Kent, Jonathan and Martha, and eventually Clark, just like we saw in the Supergirl movie, Clark finds Kara. She doesn't speak English, which was irritating too because if you remember in Superman the Christopher Reeve version, and even I think maybe Man of Steel or any interpretation, Jor-El is always feeding Clark information. He's always like, "This is your home planet. This is what it's like." Da 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 da. And I'm like, so when Kara went on her ship, her dad didn't like somehow find like a Rosetta Stone of some type that's like, you're gonna go on Earth. This is their language. Here's their language. So when she got there, she could talk to Clark. Because that's something I was wondering too. How did Clark teach Kara English? Okay. And so, of course, she lands. She knows how to speak to Clark. She's like, hey, like, don't destroy the world. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, and she's like, well, I was sent here because you're supposed to take over the world because your dad says. And he's like, we already dealt with that. Lex Luthor found the message. I'm not going to take over Earth. I'm not going to capture their women and have multiple children. Like, that's not what we're going to do. And she's like, whew, great. So now what do you do? He's like, well, I'm Superman. I take care of Earth. And I think you should be like Supergirl. And like, we should fight side by side. And she's like, okay, like, teach me how to fight. Teach me what it's like to live on Earth. And the movie is basically just Kara learning how to live on Earth. And eventually she has a conflict. Now, when it comes to the conflict, I think the super villain should have been the whole like, of course her biggest super villain is Power Girl, but how are we gonna do a Power Girl thing with Supergirl just landed? That's like a sequel movie where like they still feel threatened by Superman and Supergirl, where they're like, we need to start cloning them because Lex had already cloned Superman and Superman, the James Gunn Superman. So we can't do a whole like, oh, and now Supergirl's clones here. So Of course, we could do maybe one of Superman's uh, female villains because they like to do that when it's like when it's a woman, their villain has to be a woman, etc. So maybe like Electra. Is her name's not Electra? The one with the blue hair and electricity. What's her name? I don't know. Um. Uh. Oh, Big Barda. But that's like, oh, Granny Goodness. Now we're getting somewhere. Maybe some dark side. Now we're getting somewhere. Maybe like a dark side thing where like they leave and then they go there. You follow me? Because I know for Man of Tomorrow we're doing Brainiac. So we're already getting through the superhero, I mean Superman villains. But yeah, like I know I was kind of scatterbrained all over the place. Let's condense it and really talk about the core issue with Supergirl and kind of the core issue in regards to superhero films in general and not even just DC. These people don't get it. Like, if I had to actually make a DC film, one, the people who did DCAU, the people who did Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, even Injustice, which wasn't by the same people, they really understood the basis of those characters and really made good storylines. So then when I watch it in live action, everyone just wants to make their own interpretation or how they want to see this character. And let me tell you something. Kara Zor-El is not this like angsty, punksty girl. She's literally just a girl. Like, watch even when she had like her kind of solo adventures or double adventures with like Barbara Gordon, like that girl. And just like her being like, I just want to be a girl and I also happen to have superpowers. Or like I think about when she really got into her plot when it came to her and Power Girl and like I don't know. I just feel like if you couldn't get someone who has limited stories like Supergirl right, and I already feel wonky about some of your interpretations about other superheroes in the Superman film itself, then I'm already kind of scared when you're going to touch on the big dogs like Batman and Wonder Woman and what's John Stewart going to be like? Are we going to get the Hawk Girl I want? Like all these, like the unlimited like cast, like even something as simple as the Booster Gold episode, they still gave him more umph and depth than this Supergirl film did for her. And that's insane to me because that episode was like 23 minutes. It was the greatest story, like never told, untold, and it was a Booster Gold story. And again, Booster Gold isn't this crazy popular character in DC, but Justice League, that writing team, they were really good at grabbing the most non-famous DC character and being like, let's give them an arc, let's give them popularity, and they were able to do that. And the people that run DC with James Gunn, they aren't able to do that. They'll get all this money, they'll get the actors, they'll get the plot, and they'll destroy it. And it's like you have longer time than the Justice League. Again, that was the only episode of Booster Gold, and I learned more about Booster Gold's struggles, emotional, roller coaster of emotions more than Kara in this film because it didn't make sense of like the timeline. You're 23, you landed on Earth likely when you were like 16 years old, so you've been on Earth for about 7 years, and while on Earth, you just sat there and be depressed and miserable, and you just go on other planets to drink. Hello, can like okay, what have we seen a therapist? What has Clark been like? What's going on, girl? Like that's all it was given to me. So that's my review for Supergirl. I want you guys to drop your comments down below because I feel like people need to have like an actual conversation about Supergirl rather than be like this movie's bad and this is why, because there is actual reason why this movie is bad. Like just because you say sex trafficking doesn't mean like your movie's automatically great because you talk about something that's like happening in the real world. Like you actually have to execute that correctly and do that with care. And I just felt like they just insert that plot because they're like, oh, woman superhero, well she saved a bunch of girls that are being sex trafficked. Okay? But she never touched on it. Like she never cared. She only cared about that. She literally said, I'm the bitch whose dog is shot. And I'll leave it on that.